Hey guys, it's Watercolor Jumpstart number 22, and we're going to talk about urban sketching today. So right off the bat, I just want to admit that urban sketching is not in my area of expertise. I just really appreciate it and it excites me. I love when people do it, and it's really popular. So I wanted to touch on it in case there was a beginner painter or someone who maybe hadn't considered trying urban sketching, just to be like, hey, I want you to look into this. I think it's really cool. And I'm going to link some YouTube channels and books that I think would be a really great place to learn a bit more about this topic. But I'll walk you through what I did. So I've started with a pencil drawing. I'm using that mechanical pencil, as you've seen me do quite a few times by now. And I started off with the cube shape from earlier. So, it's not a complete cube. I don't see the complete building. And of course, buildings aren't total like squares. But it's the same idea of there is this face of the cube going in two different directions. And then I started adding things like windows, and then there's a fence that's coming off from it. I'm going to add some trees and some bushes and things like that. So if you draw lightly with your pencil, you can do quite a bit of erasing and adjusting so that it kind of is the right proportions and everything. So it took me quite a while just fiddling around with this sketch, but I think that if it takes a while, just because maybe you're not as comfortable or familiar with it, that is okay. And I'm not saying that necessarily because I believe you need to hear it, but more because I need to hear it. I'm always like, oh my God, this is harder than usual. I must really suck. And it's like, nah, you're just not as practiced with this kind of drawing. And that is A-okay. So yeah, just getting all those perspective-y lines in there. If you look at the kind of work I normally do, there's really no perspective in it because I like a simple subject matter, and I usually don't even include a background. So this is really good for me to be practicing on this stuff, and it's something I actually would like to do a bit more of. I really like the idea of going out on site and painting in, my sketchbook and stuff from observation. So that's something that probably when I finish this whole video project, I'm going to start working on doing that some more. Anyways, getting that sketch in, getting it perfect. Not perfect, but as good as it's going to get. I don't want to rush into the painting aspect of it before I have this just right. So this is something that is relatively challenging, or at least I found it to be so. You can choose as simple or as difficult a subject matter as you like. You could even just paint just the front of someone's home with like a door frame or something. Really, it's just something kind of architectural that you might see in person. And bonus points if it's from your an area that you see a lot in your just day-to-day life. So I started with a blue sky, working on the ground, just filling in those major areas of color, remembering that it's going to be the lightest value, and then I'll eventually, add darker colors and more details, but getting these first layers of the lightest color down is important. And then I think there's going to be a little jump because I have to wait for this stuff to dry because I want all those details to be crisp on top. So there's a lot of dry time waiting in watercolor. Some people speed it along with a hairdryer, but I don't know, that kind of messes with my vibe. I like a pretty chill studio, and that noise of a hairdryer annoys me. And I paint at night a lot of times, and so I feel like that's just kind of rude if there's a sleeping husband in the house. So I'm putting in my windows with Payne's Gray. I actually will come back later with a white gel pen to put in the little window panes, crisscrossy lines that are in white. So a gel pen's a great thing to have when you're urban sketching. So just filling in those details as we move along. So there's something I have to remind myself that there is a lot of different ways to create art. And you don't have to be equally good at all of them. I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself where it's like, well, you're an artist, you need to be good at all the art. And it just is, there's different ways to paint, and they require different kinds of skill. And it's okay if you really excel at some things and maybe you're not as great at other things. Sometimes I get discouraged and it's like, wow, I'm not real great at this urban sketching thing. I must suck at all the art. And it's just not true. And also, this isn't like that horrifically bad, or I wouldn't put it in a video. But I just think that I fall into a trap a lot of times of feeling like I need to be a jack of all trades, and I really don't have to be. I can just focus on what I enjoy doing. But I do find it important to try a lot of things. That way you can decide what you are interested in, which is part of what this whole 30-day project is trying a variety of art approaches. So yeah, this is one of them. So yeah, definitely go check out some people who do this, who are really practiced at it. I love the look of it. It looks just, there's something that is so, when someone does it right, you get the feeling of the location and like a nice style. Like Parka Blog's YouTube channel is so good. That's the one that I'm sure everyone knows because he's got a really big following. So definitely check that out. I'll link it below. So I hope you're enjoying this whole process thing. We're getting closer to the end. We are in the home stretch, kind of. We're in the last 10, I guess. And it's been a journey, just all of the editing things. I've gotten really fast at putting these videos together at this point. This is the final editing session before I return to doing a painting session, and then I'll edit those. So I always look forward to that. I get a little stir crazy behind the computer, and I get excited to get back to the art part of the whole thing. So let me know what you think about urban sketching, if it's something you enjoy. Definitely encourage drawing and painting from observation, even if it's just objects and not architectural. I think it's really good for an artist to do that, and it's something that I need to do more of in my art practice. So don't forget to like and subscribe and use the hashtag Jumpstart with Jenny, and I will see you in our next video. Bye!